This Monday's mid-morning mayhem, tonight's tremendous top stories. Roman legends found dead in German woods. Could it be the Teutoburg king? Polish peer brawl lasts a month, leaves Germans reeling. And terror twin pack takes out top Taliban tamer. Plus, coming up, special guest, Fade Fabric Soft, explains how to eradicate stains in 5. Don't look in the linen cupboard now. Those are the headlines. Okay, now panic!
News Bang, casting light on the murky depths of news. 9.
3 Roman legions have been utterly destroyed in the Teutoburg Forest by a ragtag band of Germanic tribes. The Romans, who thought they were just popping out for a nice stroll in the woods, found themselves ambushed by angry locals wielding pointy sticks and bad attitudes.
Eyewitnesses report that the Roman soldiers were caught with their togas down, literally. "I've never seen so many hairy buttocks in my life," said Brunhilde, a local goat herd. "It was like a full moon festival, but with more screaming."
The mastermind behind this colossal upset was none other than Arminius, a Germanic nobleman who had previously been working for the Romans. In a twist worthy of a daytime soap opera, Arminius turned on his employers faster than you can say, "Et tu, brute."
Emperor Augustus, upon hearing the news, was reportedly seen banging his head against a marble pillar, shouting, "Varus, give me back my legions!" Unfortunately for Augustus, Varus was too busy being dead to comply with this request.
Ulysses, 1939.
And now, the heroic tale of the Hell Peninsula, where 3,000 Polish soldiers decided to throw the mother of all beach parties in 1939. For nearly a month, these brave souls held off the entire German army, armed with nothing but sandcastles, pointy sticks, and an endless supply of pierogi.
Rear Admiral Włodzimierz Steyr, known to his men as the Sandman, ingeniously repurposed beach umbrellas as anti-aircraft guns. One soldier, Private Kazimierz Kielbasa, reportedly knocked out a panzer tank by hurling a particularly stale loaf of bread at its periscope.
German commanders were baffled by the Polish resistance. "How can we invade?" cried General Hans Wurst. "They've built an impenetrable wall of sunbathers." The Luftwaffe's attempts to bomb the peninsula were thwarted when pilots became distracted by the impromptu beach volleyball tournament below.
Introducesti, 2001.
Afghan resistance leader Ahmad Shah Massoud has been assassinated by 2 al-Qaeda operatives posing as journalists. Witnesses report the attackers concealed their weapons in a state-of-the-art camera made entirely of Semtex and bad intentions.
Massoud, known as the Lion of Panjshir, was reportedly in the middle of his daily routine of bench-pressing tanks and arm-wrestling bears when the attack occurred. His last words were said to be, "I can't believe it's not Buddha."
Local goat herd Amir al-Bleating described the scene. "It was like watching a Michael Bay movie, but with less plot and more explosions. I haven't seen this much chaos since my mother-in-law visited last Ramadan."
The timing of the assassination, just 2 days before a scheduled bake sale in New York, has raised eyebrows among the international community. When asked for comment, a Taliban spokesperson said, "No comment. But have you tried our new line of organic free-range IEDs?"
News Bang, sifting through the rivers of deception for the shining grains of fact.
Brace yourselves! With a forecast wilder than a cat on a hot tin roof, here's our very own weather guru, Shakanaka Giles.
So, alright, let's dive in. Down south, we're looking at a scorcher, the kind of heat that'll have you sweating like a priest at a school reunion. Just go ahead and dive into the nearest paddling pool. Up north, it's a real mixed bag. Rain one minute, sunshine the next. Proper Jekyll and Hyde weather, like your aunt after her third sherry. The Midlands, hold on to your hats, it's gonna blow. Winds so fierce, they'll have the pensioners airborne. Keep an eye out for flying grannies. And don't forget, it's the Queen's funeral tomorrow. Expect skies matching the nation's mood, grey and weepy. Bring your brolly, your black suit, and perhaps a hip flask. In short, scorching, schizo, blustery, and bleak. That's your weather.
Ulysses, 1939.
A small Polish force of 3,000 troops is beginning their heroic defense of the Hel Peninsula against the German invasion. For nearly a month, these brave soldiers are holding off the vastly superior German forces, showcasing Polish determination and capturing global attention. The defense of Hel Peninsula is becoming a symbol of Polish resistance and inspiring Allied efforts throughout the war. For more on this remarkable stand, we go to our war correspondent Brian Bastable.
This is Brian Bastable reporting from the storm-lashed shores of the Hel Peninsula as the horizon burns a vile red. The night sky is filled with the roar of Nazi bombers and the sputtering crackle of flak. I'm standing but moments away from where 3,000 valiant Polish troops, white-knuckled, stand as a bulwark against the tide of unstoppable German war machines. I can feel the throbbing of heavy artillery as it screams and hisses across the shores, leaving trails of shimmering, incandescent embers. Our cameraman, bless his soul, is steadfast, relentless in capturing the unfolding carnage. With one hand, he clutches the camera, and with the other, he keeps his trousers hitched up, not wanting to give Hitler any more victory than he deserves. The unyielding, ice-hardened earth beneath my feet trembles with the force of an inexorable metallic leviathan. The horizon vomits fire, and the wind shrieks as the black and monstrous swarm of the enemy sweeps in like an unstoppable storm, their hunger for blood and conquest insatiable. The Polish forces, steeled against the onslaught, retaliate with the savage might of their own artillery. They unleash a devastating barrage of gunfire and explode with blistering salvos of shrapnel and steel, cutting through the ranks of the enemy like a red-hot scythe. In the face of such overwhelming force, the Nazis' advance falters. Their metal monsters stumble and reel as if stricken by the wrathful hand of God himself. For here, on this sliver of land, the Poles have proven themselves unbreakable, an immovable wall that not even the assembled might of Hitler's forces can topple. The unyielding, almost primeval roar of defiance that erupts from the throats of the Polish troops carries on the wind, mingling with the incessant crackle of gunfire. I am rendered momentarily speechless as I bear witness to the extraordinary fortitude of these warriors as they defend their homeland, their brothers in arms, their very way of life. My eyes, riveted to the horizon, cannot help but see the German hordes swarm like ants around the feet of these proud giants. But for every meter of soil that is claimed, 1,000 bodies are left strewn in their wake. This place is a testament to the determination and sheer unbreakable spirit of the Polish defenders. But as I gaze into the steely-eyed, thunder-filled hearts of these men, I cannot help but notice a flicker of sadness, a sorrow that such heroism will ultimately be in vain. The might of the German forces, unyielding, unrelenting, and insatiable, will not be denied. As I conclude my report, I leave you with the following words imprinted on my soul, words that will forever echo the bravery, sacrifice, and indomitable spirit of these 3,000 men. This is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end, but perhaps it is the end of the beginning. God bless you all, and God bless Poland. Brian Bastable, News Bang, reporting live from the Hell Peninsula.
Breton, 1791.
E.T.E. say, in a stroke of sheer brilliance, or perhaps a severe lack of imagination, the commissioners overseeing the construction of America's new capital city have christened it Washington, D.C. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it seems the Founding Fathers' creativity extended only as far as naming their newborn nation after its first president. One can only wonder if they considered Georgiopolis or Washington upon Potomac before settling on this groundbreaking moniker. For more on this earth-shattering development, we go now to our American correspondent, Melody Wintergreen.
The air is electric with patriotic fervor here in the nation's capital as we mark the 233rd anniversary of the christening of this hallowed ground. I'm Melody Wintergreen, reporting live from the steps of the U.S. Capitol building in Washington, D.C., the city that bears the immortal name of our first president, the father of our country. It was on this very day in 1791 that the commissioners overseeing the construction of this new capital city made the momentous decision to name it in honor of the legendary George Washington. A true titan of the American Revolution, Washington's steadfast leadership and unimpeachable character were the bedrock upon which this young nation was built. And so it was only fitting that the seat of our federal government would bear his revered name, cementing his legacy for all eternity. As I gaze out at the grand monuments and stately edifices that grace this city, I'm struck by the sheer weight of history that permeates every inch of this hallowed ground. From the towering obelisk of the Washington Monument to the august halls of Congress, the spirit of our nation's founding father infuses this place with a palpable sense of destiny. It was here, on these very steps, that Washington himself stood to take the oath of office, his steely gaze fixed upon the future of a fledgling republic. And it is here that generations of leaders have followed in his footsteps, guided by the principles of liberty, justice, and self-governance that he so eloquently championed. Yes, my fellow Americans, the decision to name this city after the father of our country was no mere act of political expediency. It was a bold statement of national identity, a proclamation that the United States would forever be inextricably linked to the towering legacy of its first president. And as we gaze upon the majestic skyline of Washington, D.C., we are reminded that the dream of a more perfect union lives on, forever enshrined in the name of the man who made it possible. This is Melody Wintergreen, reporting live from the steps of the U.S. Capitol, where the spirit of 1791 still echoes through the ages.
9.
3 Roman legions have been utterly decimated in the treacherous Teutoburg Forest. Reports suggest a Germanic alliance, led by the cunning Arminius, ambushed the unsuspecting Romans. This catastrophic defeat has sent shockwaves through the empire, with Emperor Augustus reportedly banging his head against a wall, crying, "Varus, give me back my legions!" For more on this developing story, we go to our war historian, Bertrand Spitfire. Bertrand, what can you tell us about this unprecedented military disaster?
Yes, the fateful Battle of the Teutoburg Forest, a clash of civilizations that would echo through the annals of this curious little mudball we call Earth. Picture, if you will, the mighty Roman Empire, that grand galactic hegemon flexing its military might across the cosmos, or at least across this particular corner of the galaxy. Now, the Caesars of old were a rather ambitious bunch, always eager to add more real estate to their ever-expanding portfolio. And so, they set their sights on the dense, foreboding forests of Germania, a land teeming with hardy, independent-minded tribes. Little did the Romans know they were about to face their most formidable foe yet. A brilliant military strategist by the name of Arminius. You see, Arminius was no ordinary barbarian. He was a Germanic nobleman who had been schooled in the ways of Roman warfare. Imagine a Klingon who spent a few years at Starfleet Academy, only to return home and lead his people in a glorious uprising. That's Arminius in a nutshell. With his insider knowledge of Roman tactics, Arminius masterfully orchestrated an ambush that would make even the most seasoned Romulan commander blush. He lured the unsuspecting Roman legions deep into the treacherous Teutoburg Forest, where the narrow paths and marshy terrain neutralized the empire's vaunted military might. As the Roman soldiers struggled to maintain their rigid formations, the Germanic tribes struck with the fury of 1,000 Klingon bird of prey. Arrows rained down from the canopy, while hulking warriors emerged from the shadows to engage in brutal, close-quarters combat. It was a symphony of chaos, with the once mighty Romans reduced to disorganized, panicked mobs. In the span of just a few days, 3 entire Roman legions, that's roughly 20,000 highly trained soldiers, were annihilated. It was a stunning defeat that shook the foundations of the empire, forcing them to abandon their plans for conquest and instead focus on defending their existing territories. Arminius, the cunning mastermind behind this epic triumph, would go down in history as a hero of the Germanic peoples, a symbol of resistance against the ever-encroaching Roman juggernaut. And the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest? Well, let's just say it's the kind of event that makes even the most jaded xeno-historian sit up and take notice.
Nada news bang, delivering the news with the ferocity of a moose and the smoothness of a salmon.
And in Singapore, a nation known for its meticulous approach to everything from chewing gum to currency, has today unveiled its new portrait series banknotes. The move has sent shockwaves through the numismatic community, with reports of coin collectors fainting in the streets of Singapore. One can only imagine the chaos that might ensue if they decide to change the colour of their postage stamps. For more on this earth-shattering development, we go now to our business correspondent, Perkin Stornoway. Perkin, how are the Singaporeans coping with this radical shift in their pocket change?
Yes, it's the banker's betrayal show. The time is 1930, and the dogger's blowing like a poltergeist. Biscay, moderate, occasionally poor. Well, grab your forex and prepare for a hilarious news roundup. Shannon, southwesterly 5 or 6. You'll never guess what's happening in Singapore. A colossal banknote revolution. They've introduced the new portrait series, Hebrides, variable 4 or 5, featuring none other than Yusuf Ishak himself. Lundy, fair, becoming poor. He's the first president of Singapore, and his portrait's now on the banknotes. What a state of affairs. But that's not all, folks. They've got updated security features and design elements, he said. Biscay, occasional showers. It's like they've taken a holiday to Iceland and returned with a new set of banknotes. That's right. You heard it here first. Singapore's gone all Icelandic with their money. And here's the kicker. They've transitioned the currency management from the BCCS to the Monetary Authority of Singapore, German Byte, wind northwesterly 3 or 4. It's like they've hired a bunch of masochists to run the show. Who needs that kind of trouble? But you know what? The public loved it. Shannon, veering southwesterly 6 or 7. Not a single complaint. It's like they've all gone crazy. Can you believe it? No disruptions. Just smooth sailing. It's enough to make you wonder if they're all on the same planet. And that's the business roundup for today. Fastnet, occasionally rough. We'll be back with more absurd news later. For now, enjoy the insanity of the Singapore dollar revolution. And remember, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em.
1971.
And now, a musical revolution that's shaking the very foundations of society. John Lennon, former Beatle and current peacenik, has unleashed his second solo album, Imagine, upon an unsuspecting world. The album, a veritable sonic manifesto, is causing widespread outbreaks of unity and understanding. Reports suggest that listeners are experiencing dangerous levels of hope and optimism. The Home Office has issued a statement urging the public to remain cynical and divided. For more on this potentially world-altering event, we go to our culture correspondent, Smithsonia Moss.
Now, at this point of the evening, we welcome listeners on FM who've just joined us.
Whoa, you guys, gather round. I've got the scoop on the most iconic album in music history, John Lennon's Imagine, and trust me, it's a wild ride. Released in 1971, this masterpiece was like a middle finger to the establishment, a big ol' fuck you to the man, and we are here for it. Lennon was on a mission to make a statement, and boy did he deliver. The title track, Imagine, is like the ultimate anthem for peace, love, and all that jazz. It's like he's saying, hey, world, let's all just get along and, not kill each other. Simple, yet profound. But what really sets this album apart is its ballsy production. I mean, who else but Phil Spector could make a song about peace and love sound like a grand, sweeping epic? It's like a symphony of awesomeness, people. And let's not forget the controversy surrounding this album. I mean, Lennon was basically telling everyone to fuck off, including his former Beatles bandmates. It was like he was saying, hey, Paul, Ringo, George, you guys can suck it. I'm John Lennon, and I'm a solo artist now. Of course, the critics went wild, and the album was a huge commercial success. I mean, who wouldn't want to buy an album that's essentially a big ol' middle finger to the establishment? It's like the ultimate form of rebellion, people. Anyway, that's Imagine in a nutshell, folks. It's a masterpiece, a work of art, a big ol' fuck you to the man. So go ahead, give it a listen. And remember, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you just might find you get what you need. Whoa, indeed. And that's all for tonight, folks. Tune in next time when we'll be discussing the merits of Elvis's jumpsuits. Was he a fashion icon or just a big ol' sweaty mess? You decide.
Edison News Bang. Yesterday's lies, today's truths, tomorrow's recycling bin.
And finally, it's time for a look at tomorrow's papers. The Times. Barefoot runner wins gold in Rome. The Independent lead with pirate bother in the Med. The Mail. Big hole opens in Switzerland. That's a picture of the entrance to the hole. The Telegraph have atoms go zoom in France. And the Daily Star. Small sausage causes massive delay on the underground. That's got nothing to do with anything. And the Sunday People. Knitwear causes panic in Wessex. That's not even a real place. That's all from us tonight. And if you can't be good, be careful. Don't get caught.
Tune in next time for more artificially intelligent hilarity. News Bang is a comedy show, written and recorded by AI. All voices impersonated. Nothing here is real. Good night.